And we're live or on demand. Depends on how you're getting it. What's up, everybody? It's a Wednesday. This is your WWE News Roundup from Sportskeeda Wrestling. I'm Kev Kelm. A lot to get into today. A lot of news. Your comments on screen. Usually our news roundups, we pre-film these, but today we want to go live and get your comments in the chat on screen, telling us about these big breaking news stories. Coming up, we'll talk about WWE. They could potentially have a massive live event later on in 2021 outside of the United States. AEW is talking about going live once again as well, getting back on the road this summer. Goldberg wants a dream match with someone who had a real show-stealing performance at WrestleMania this year. But let's get into our big lead-off story. Ronda Rousey has announced that she is pregnant. She announced this through a video online today. Very, very good news for her. WWE congratulating her as well about this happy news. This is certainly interesting. She said in the video, "I've been pregnant since January, so 4 months. The baby bump. I can't hide it anymore. So it's time to show it off." Congratulations to her. This is something that people thought was remotely talked about and reported in wide circles when she left WWE. The last time we saw her perform was at WrestleMania in 2019 in New York, New Jersey. She headlined the historic first WrestleMania women's main event, losing the Raw Women's Championship to Becky Lynch. Charlotte Flair also featured in that match. When she came over to WWE, is a huge, huge story. What do you guys think here? Obviously, this will put some speculation on if you think she's going to wrestle again. Do you think Ronda Rousey will perform in the WWE? Obviously, there's going to put more of a delay on something like that. You know, life happens, and here we are. Yes, we are live, pal. We're live with this for the first time. Let us know what you guys think here. A lot of fans congratulating her. A lot of people happy for this news. And a lot of people feeling like this is definitely going to be something that keeps her out of the WWE ring for a while here. Let us know what you guys think here. A lot of people just happy for her. I'm okay with that. I applaud you guys for that. Because many times this happens with people. Several years ago, people like, that's ridiculous. You're in wrestling. You shouldn't be starting a family when you're doing that. This is different. You should be considerate. And you should have empathy for another human being. A lot of you guys saying congratulations. Thank you for being good, reasonable human beings. But then, you're going to have people like Dale chiming in and say, she can't even wrestle. Did you watch it, Dale? Did you watch her wrestle? Because I watched her wrestle, and I'm pretty sure she could kick my ass. Very competitive in UFC. She had a big UFC career. And then a lot of people said, oh, she couldn't cut in the UFC, so that's why she's in WWE. Vice versa. It's very, very tough. Both are very, very tough, physical, arduous, mentally challenging endeavors to go into. Ronda Rousey tackled all of them. I think she does have a future in WWE. Maybe a handful of wrestling matches in the future. She has said in the right circumstance she would come back. I think this is something that lines up with the type of life that she wanted outside of WWE for a while. I don't think she was ever going to be somebody who was working a constant WWE schedule. She was on Raw a lot for a period of time. She was the Raw Women's Champion. She did do some big live events as well, outside of just, on television events. I think Ronda Rousey will perform in WWE again. How soon? I'm not exactly certain. From what I know, she possibly is still under contract. I don't know the terms of that. There was some talk that maybe that contract was coming up sometime soon, or is there rollover on that? I think if she does wrestle again anywhere, it will be in WWE. That's where most people know her in the professional wrestling world, and that's where I feel she could reach the most people. What do you think of this video? If you're watching live or on demand, don't forget to hit that like button. Get that engagement up. Support the channel. Whether you're watching us on Facebook Watch, thank you so much. Check us out on YouTube as well. You can watch all of our different shows like Legion of Raw every Monday night with Vince Russo. Yes, that Vince Russo. Smack Talk every Friday night after Smackdown with Dirty Dutch Mantel. Exclusive interviews that we have up now with superstars you saw on WWE's WrestleMania. We just talked to formerly Sin Cara Cinta de Oro. He had some comments about WWE performing in Saudi Arabia. That leads me to our next story. This one is pretty interesting here. We've learned through WrestleVotes, longtime Twitter handle, giving inside scoops on the world of wrestling. that WWE is potentially looking at doing an event in Saudi Arabia before the end of 2021. This is certainly an interesting take here. WrestleVotes tweeting this out. We don't know who WrestleVotes is, but he's tweeted out, or he or she has tweeted out a lot of different things in the past that have been verified and eventually became true. And a lot of the different scoops that WrestleVotes has put out about WWE's presence in Saudi Arabia have all been accurate, saying simply in this tweet today, 2 WWE sources indicate that an event in Saudi Arabia prior to the end of 2021 is very much on the table. Now, this doesn't mean the event is going to happen for sure, but at least that it's being looked at in terms of WWE's fourth quarter period of 2021, which is going to be very critical for all of live entertainment. You're going to see a lot of live entertainment come back to the United States, possibly parts of Europe, as we kind of work our way out of the pandemic. Different parts of the world will be out of it before other ones. And as vaccinations ramp up, regulations come down, live events come back, and I'm not just talking wrestling, I'm talking concerts in general. WWE is going to want to be a part of that, and if they can do it in a big platform like Saudi Arabia, where they have a long-term deal, they're going to do it, and this could be a big deal for the company here. Now, WWE's long-term deal with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia started in 2018. The most recent event the company held in the country was Super Showdown, headlined by Goldberg versus The Fiend in a match that a lot of fans were angry about because The Fiend lost the championship in that match. I heard plenty of you were probably very angry about that match. How could they do that? The Fiend was so over. How could they do that to Goldberg? Oh, it's ridiculous here. Let me know what you guys are thinking here about what's going on with WWE potentially returning to Saudi Arabia. Now, does this mean that we're not going to see WWE live events for fans in the United States or other parts of the world in 2021? No, it just means that right now, those high-profile Saudi Arabia events for WWE could be happening before the end of the year. Does it mean more than one? I believe, just by looking at what's possible, that could be one big major event. Now, WWE's executive, Nick Khan, spoke to Variety around WrestleMania week, and he did kind of talk about the idea of WWE coming back to a full-fledged touring schedule. And when he said this, it was pretty interesting what he said. He basically said, once we're on the road, we're back on the road. And WrestleMania was a one-time deal. That was the exception. That was something we did for fans because we knew fans wanted it. And it was successful. It was a successful deal for WWE to do those events that way in those circumstances, not filling a football stadium, but, getting the estimated audience of 25,000 there, right? So WWE doing this, I can see some people just misconstruing this and saying, like, well, how could you go to Saudi Arabia and you're not going to, come back to Pittsburgh or come back to Detroit or Madison Square Garden in New York City, or the Allstate Arena in Chicago, these famed venues that WWE has played in the United States. That's still very much possible. It's just we got word of this first. It's just a matter of when you heard the information. Let us know what you think. How excited are you for live wrestling to return? It is certainly an exciting time as we see some things start to open up, sometimes faster in some areas, as we mentioned. And someone who could fastly be returning to the ring with live fans is AEW. AEW Dynamite now unopposed on Wednesday nights on TNT. And Jim Ross, AEW commentator, WWE Hall of Famer, basically let the cat out of the bag, saying that they are indeed in a position where they are looking at getting back on the road. This is what he had to say on a most recent episode of Grilling with JR, co-hosted by Conrad Thompson. And he chatted up this topic, saying, we're getting our schedules together. Looks like we're going back on the road pretty aggressively beginning in July. Getting back in front of a live audience is a blessing. I can't wait. He also alluded that they're also going to be adding more content. Now, a lot of another show from AEW has been kind of rumored, a weekly show on top of what they're already doing. They have 2 web series, Dark and Dark Elevation. Obviously, the main show, Dynamite on TNT, is the main thing that they focus on and the main thing that most fans see from them. But their web content, very successful. And it has been expected that they would do another show for Warner Media. So what's going to happen here? No matter what, we're getting them in front of live fans. That's a big story. I think it's probably bigger, maybe even the second show, considering the circumstances. AEW live shows are very, very fun, just like WWE live shows are fun. But AEW is a new brand. It has a different feeling to it. It has a different audience. It is predominantly male, and they are loud. And I think they have done the best they can being in Daly's place for the better part of the last year. They did perform some shows at an undisclosed location in Georgia. And they dealt with the challenges of COVID as well, but the circumstantial challenges that they were able to overcome were pretty good because they had an open-air venue in Daly's Place, which is a part of the Jacksonville Jaguars complex, Jacksonville Jaguars football team, owned by Tony Khan, the head honcho of AEW. That's his official title, right? Head honcho. So this is a big story. Are you excited for live wrestling to return? What's the first match you guys want to see? What's the first match you guys want to be in attendance for? What's the first thing that you guys are looking forward to doing at a live wrestling show? Is it just booing somebody? Is it cheering somebody? Sound off in the comments. Let me know what you think. I want to know how you guys feel about this topic here. Let sound off here. People looking forward to Goldberg versus Reigns. They want to see that. And this is a lot of people saying, I think Stephen Chambers, I think we may see wrestlers not going despite what happened to them in the last show. I think this is in reference to the story I just did a few minutes ago about WWE in Saudi Arabia. That has been described. Obviously, I don't have to touch on it. I think a lot of people understand the context here. It is somewhat controversial for WWE to be in the Saudi Arabian region due to social political issues there. A lot of people think this is a questionable deal on WWE's side, but it is a deal they're maintaining and taking that brand into a part of the world that some people believe is repressed. Now, I'm not stating that for Sportskeeda or anyone else, or even some of you watching, but it is a lot of the discussion that people bring up, especially online. Now, I do think there may be some superstars that don't make that trip, and there were some superstars in the past, some very noteworthy, big headlining names who did make that trip. That doesn't mean it won't be a show of note, especially when you have a lot of big names that come out for those shows. Goldberg, one of them. And you had that very controversial Goldberg versus Undertaker match. And even this, this follow-up match, the last one we had last year before the pandemic really got going, in which he took on The Fiend. A lot of people were against that. So we'll see what happens here. What's the name of the show? Some people say it's going to be called Crown Jewel 3. I don't know if it'll be called Crown Jewel 3. I don't know exactly the name of it, but it is reportedly on the table. One of our own Sportskeeda guys saying maybe it'll be called WrestleMania Crown Jewel. They're doing WrestleMania Backlash. That aggravated so many people here. If you're enjoying the video, hit that like button. Give us reactions. If something I say makes you chuckle, something I say makes your heart pump, just hit that reaction button. It helps us out. Maybe reaches a couple more people on the feed here. Let us know what you guys are feeling about here. On the topic of AEW having live fans back, Sean Smith wants to talk some trash, saying Daddy Khan getting tired of using Jaguar money for the Mark's wrestling hobby. It's not a wrestling hobby when 1.2 million people watch your TV show. That's right. That was the rating, the overnight rating that AEW got last week. Sean, I'm ready for all the shots you have, but I'm ready to block them. Dikembe Mutombo, no. I'm ready to stop you right there. Adam Buxton saying AEW streaming service in terms of them launching a secondary show. Here's my thing. You're AEW, and you're doing a weekly show on TNT, owned by Warner Media. Warner Media, as a company, launched a big streaming service that is available in a lot of different countries called HBO Max. And it has the recent King Kong versus Godzilla movie on it, and the recent remastered, redone Justice League movie on it. It's HBO. It has Game of Thrones on it. Why isn't there AEW shows on there? I would love to see some AEW on HBO Max. Now, there isn't a live portal on there. Everything's simply on demand. But, man, $15 a month? I think a lot of people would be really attracted about that if they could get some pay-per-views on there. There would certainly be something there. A lot of people saying different ideas for the names for the next Saudi Arabia show. A lot of people controversial these WWE Saudi Arabia shows and what the names of the shows are. Some people say Kellamania. No, I won't sell them that name. Kellamania is right here. It beats in my heart, beats in my blood. Kellamania runs with me, Tommy B. Yeah, a lot of people with different thoughts here. and different takes on everything going on in the world of wrestling. I have another big story to cover here before we wrap up here. Once again, share the link, get in the comments, even if you're watching on demand. We have a lot of different stuff coming up for you, by the way. We'll be doing a debrief of AEW and NXT later on tonight, right around 9 Central, 10 Eastern, for you guys to check out. Last story of the day, though, I brought up Goldberg. Goldberg wants a match, and he wants a match with a big name Smackdown superstar. He wants a match with a superstar that had one of the best matches at WrestleMania this year, a superstar that some people think could be a Universal Champion for the first time in the future. Goldberg wants Cesaro. That's right. Goldberg appeared recently on WWE's The Bump. He had this to say: "Now I got to pick and choose my moves wisely." Goldberg does get to come back and have these moves sporadically and have matches with big name people. We last saw him at the Royal Rumble with Drew McIntyre. He continues to say, "I'd love to get in the ring with Cesaro. He's one of the most talented guys to have ever put on a pair of boots." Is he wrong? I mean, widely, Cesaro, the Swiss cyborg, the king of swing, is seen to be a physical dynamo who can do so many different things in the ring and is believed to be one of the best in-ring technicians that WWE's had in the last 10 years. Now, Goldberg, not exactly an in-ring technician, but definitely an aura is about him. A sense of presence is about him. He is a superstar of that certain generation that a lot of fans grew up with, that they got connected with. And the critique of Cesaro is, yes, diehard fans are into him, but is he connected with the general audience? Cesaro getting a big win over Goldberg? Even if people say Goldberg comes out there and he does the glorified job, whatever you want to do with your jaded internet smart markiness on top of this thing, I think this is a special match. Do you think this is a special match? I don't know if it would be bigger than some of the other things that Goldberg has done in the WWE, but it would certainly be something on the surface that would catch people off guard. Other people simply say, hey, he's too old for this. He's Goldberg. You're getting a guy who's in his 50s, right? Is he going to be able to do the jackhammer like he used to? A lot of people, Rory Toe. He says, Cesaro versus Goldberg would not draw good money. I think it would be interesting. I don't know if it's a WrestleMania match, but it'd definitely be a cool, interesting match on like a non-Big Four pay-per-view. If that's a match you want to do in Saudi Arabia, I think that'd be interesting as well. Justin Long. WWE stinks. It just stinks. Thank you for your positivity. I appreciate it. Other people want to call him by his first name. They want to say Bill here. Leo Bowden, thank you, Leo. He says, could put Cesaro over. Build Cesaro to win Money in the Bank and later cash it in. Well, there's illusions that maybe Cesaro could be going after that championship before Money in the Bank. What do you think of that? Let me know what your comments are in the comments below. Your comments in the comments below and all that good stuff. If you haven't done it already, go ahead, follow Sportskeeda. Follow Sportskeeda on whatever social you like. Give us a follow on Twitter machine at SKWrestling_. All right. We're starting to do live tweeting during a lot of different TV shows and all those good things here. If you haven't done it, if you're watching us on Facebook, make sure your notifications are on. So that way you know exactly when we go live, exactly when we're premiering new content, like the news roundup. We may be doing more of these live news roundups in the future. And of course, check out what we're doing. The Legion of Raw with Vince Russo every single Monday night. Smack Talk with Dutch Mantel every Friday night. And if you don't catch him live, get him on demand. And remember, when watching wrestling, do the most important thing, whether you're jaded, whether you want to yell Goldberg at a guy in his 50s who still does suplexes. Just breathe, sigh out, and enjoy wrestling.